Let us now continue with a journey to the West. We are currently talking about Phuntsok Rinpoche's teaching at the third stop at Rocky Mountain. As I stated yesterday, the Peaceful Manjushri, which is a Maha'ati teaching, I feel that Phuntsok Rinpoche's teaching is so concise, and I myself personally benefited a lot from this teaching. All the way from the preliminary teachings, from the four thoughts that turns the mind, and then to the actual Ati practice, and then all the way to the Bardo practices, Phuntsok Rinpoche just give a very concise and pithy instruction, which is very rarely seen, very rarely heard. And when I say rare, I mean that it seems that the instructions are so short, yet it's so profound. When it comes to the Shastras that's composed by the great masters, there are a great numbers of them. However, not many of them are of the pith instructions. When I was translating this part of the teachings, I felt that even if I were to just read this instruction to you, and even to just mention this to you, it's really important, because if I don't do that, then you probably won't be able to find the specialty or the special quality of such teachings or such precious teachings at all. It is just like when people are seeking for the herbal medicine. I have to point out that this medicine is really wonderful. You should use it. You should try it, and then you will be able to see, oh, there is some precious medicine that is here. So for people with wisdom, you will definitely be able to find the benefit in it. But I'm sure people would feel very differently about the different kinds of blessings and different feelings that you yourself would experience while reading it. I truly feel that these are such pith instructions, not because it's very extensive, but it's so concise, yet at the same time it is so wonderful and profound. We know that when we're practicing the Nongdro practices, you need so many different types of guidance instructions in the manual so that you can practice on it. But just within such a short sentences, right away your mind stream will be able to generate the true understanding of how causes and fruition is infallible, the infallible causes and fruition, and so on. So I hope all of you would carry this teaching, this pithy teaching, that is the Peaceful Manjushri, the Ati teaching. At the very beginning of when Phuntsok Rinpoche gave teachings on it, ever since the very beginning of it, there are people who's been carrying this Peaceful Manjushri with them for 20 or 30 years without departing, without letting the text depart from their body. And that really shows faith in Ati teachings. So now let's look at the completion stage. First, visualize your body in its ordinary form, and in its central channel there is the wisdom fire lit by the force of the winds that purifies all impurities of the body into dharmata. This is the completion stage of purifying the impurities. Visualize yourself as the youthful Manjushri, and at the center of your body clearly visualize the wind channels and bindu. Then this is the visualization stage of them. Next, rely upon the movement of the wind in the channel. Fire blazes fiercely at the point below the navel. The flame rises up until it touches the inverted syllable hong at the crown, from which nectar begins to descend, and that nectar fills the whole body as you rest in the indivisibility of emptiness and bliss. This is actual visualization of the completion stage. The above two instructions on Guru Yoga and completion stage corresponds to the preliminary practice of sacred Mantrayana in general, while the uncommon preliminary practices of the great perfectionist to ascertain the true nature of the mind through the skillful means of the shamatha and vipassana. The two instructions of Guru Yoga and the completion stage are the general Tantra preliminary guidances. In terms of Guru Yoga, Phuntsok Rinpoche had also talked about the generation stage and the completion stage as well. Let it be either of them. In fact, from the Anu, from the outer Tantra, they do rely on various kinds of skillful means such as shamatha and come to the understanding of the dharmata of the mind, and these are the vipassana. And sometimes it is vipassana, sometimes shamatha. There are different kinds of skillful means. When it comes to the actual practice of Trekcho, that is directly experience the nature of mind as dharmata instead of intellectually understanding it through investigation and analysis. After that is the concluding practice of togal, which provides the supreme skillful means through which to purify the corporeal body into the Buddha's body, perfect ordinary speech into Buddha's speech, and mature the Bindu into the greater wisdom nature of the mind. Phuntsok Rinpoche mainly taught this part on the investigation aspect. From the investigation aspect, when you received the oral transmission of the flight of the great Garuda, as well as the teachings of the treasury of Dhammadhatu, they all speak of the direct cutting through aspect, which is the Trekcho part. And then if we were to speak extensively about it, then there are a lot to explore, but this is really just the concise aspect. And this part, Phuntsok Rinpoche speak of it from the investigation and analysis aspect. Relying upon the force of practice in togal, you will gradually perfect the four visions and manifest the four kayas and the five wisdoms, which are the innate inner qualities of mind's essence. This is a result of the great perfection in general. The formation are the instructions for achieving enlightenment in a single lifetime. The instruction on achieving liberation at the time of death is that when death arrives, visualize yourself as youthful Manjushri, with your mind appearing as the white syllable ah at the center of the bindu in your heart. And then chant ah, the letter ah, with a pleasing sound. Visualize that the ah rises higher and higher as you chant, then shoots out of your crown and melts into the heart of the Guru Vajra Manjughosha. Well, sometimes the practice is that to merge your mind or melt your mind into the heart center of Guru Amitabha, but over here the practice is to melt into the heart of Vajra Manjughosha, who is seated above the crown of your head. Then the Guru ascends higher and higher, departing from the pure land of Sukhavati. Visualize this process repeatedly. This is the instruction on taking rebirth in Sukhavati at the time of death. This is the Bardo of death, or Bardo instruction. This is the teaching at the time of death. And then instruction on the dharmata Bardo is that after death, the stages of dharmata Bardo will down. Sounds, lights, brilliance, and kayas of deities that are inconceivable to ordinary beings will appear. If you can recognize all those appearances are illusory, self-appearing phenomena, and abide in that realization naturally, you will achieve fully enlightened Buddhahood in the dharmata Bardo. If you do not know the differences of the six Bardos, dharmata Bardo, the Bardo of death, Phuntsok Rinpoche here explained them in such short and concise instructions. The dharmata Bardo, in fact, for non-practitioners, will appear just in such a short moment, as short as a flashlight, and then all kinds of all kinds of appearances will manifest. And if you can rest without fear, without feeling anxious, but if you can rest naturally, then you will be able to attain enlightenment in the dharmata Bardo. And for the instruction on the Bardo of becoming, when the dreamlike signs of the six realms manifest to you, you should pray to your guru and recall the practice, all the instructions for achieving liberation at the time of death that you have heard and practiced before. At the time of death, it's really quite fearful. So I really hope that all of you would have time to actually practice upon it so that you can be prepared when that moment comes. If you only study theoretically but without a practice, then when time comes, it would be quite fearful. Life is short. We though wish to live long, but as it is stated in the preliminary practices, the guidance of preliminary practices, it says that though that we seek for happiness, we suffer. May I generate the mind of renunciation to samsara. That's how we are. We seek for happiness, but there is only suffering. So all we could do is to generate renunciation to samsara. There is really nothing to grasp onto in this life. Life is really short. There is nothing to hold on to. Doesn't matter what you wish for, what you want, this is it. Some of you who are now ordained and study the Dharma, this is really the best choice that you can make in your life. I had never regretted about my choice of getting ordained. When I used to give teachings in various universities and different schools, and they would ask, do you regret your choice? In fact, I never regretted my choice to tread on this path. Though I'm not a great practitioner, and in various ways I really think I'm a terrible practitioner, but this path is really useful. Doesn't matter how much suffering I'm going through, I still feel that these kinds of teachings are so useful to me. When at the time of death, we should apply those pith instructions and teachings. Do not die like an ordinary yak or dog. Do not have fear and anxiety at time of death, because you have already encountered these pith instructions. So these completes the three kinds of instructions for those of superior faculties to attain liberation within this lifetime, for those of a medium faculty to attain liberation in the dharmata Bardo, and for those of inferior faculty to attain liberation in the pure realm of self-recurring Nirmanakaya. Thus, all the instructions on placing Buddhahood within reach have been introduced. That's it. That's such profound teachings given by Phuntshu Rinpoche in such concise and short teachings. Sometimes I truly envy Phuntshu Rinpoche's teachings, because when I was giving teachings at universities, and sometimes I feel a sense of regret that I don't have enough time to finish my prepared teachings, and sometimes I only have 15 minutes to give teachings. I really hope that all of the Dharma teachers can develop this kind of skillful means to condense all the pith instructions into such a short and pith instructions. This is really art of language, art of speech. It's very difficult. So at times you can compare the actual guidelines and the entire teachings of placing Buddhahood within one's palms with these concise teachings, and then study it again. And then Khenpo Rinpoche said that the features of placing Buddhahood within reach, there are 3 noble features of this practice manual, which are conciseness, completeness, and endowment of profound blessings. Conciseness means that this manual is short in length and clear in content, and such a text is rare to come across in India or the land of Tibet. Completeness means that in order to practice all the essential key instructions involved in Buddhist teachings, this text is more comprehensive than other manuals. It expands on the complete stages of Buddhist path from the preliminary practice all the way to the attainment of perfect enlightenment. It is a complete, faultless, and a swift method for a practitioner to attain Buddhahood. The endowment of a profound blessings meant that just all teachings of the great perfection are inconceivable and can grant liberation by simply seeing, hearing, touching, and recalling them. This manual is replete with all these qualities. As I said earlier, if you were to carry it, it could also bring great benefits. Now, this is the condensed teaching of the essentials of Peaceful Manjushri. I think it would be the best to put it into a small pamphlet so that people could carry it with them and reread it again and again whenever they have time. Nowadays, people would carry all kinds of things, all kinds of meaningless things, but don't carry the Dharma texts with them. In the past, the practitioners in general really valued Dharma texts. Whenever we had 1 RMB or 2 RMB, we would then save up 1 RMB and 2 RMB, and until we get over 100 RMB, and then we would go to Digger and buy some books. Nowadays, it seems that people only likes to buy electronic books. I'm not sure how long those electronic books will last. If it could last, then of course it's wonderful. A few books, dozens of books, you can download and you can collect them. It could also be a good method. I mean to say that if you really feel that this text is too heavy, if you feel that the resting the mind as well as Lama Nyingtik and those kinds of Maha'ati teachings are indeed too heavy, then carry this text, this Peaceful Manjushri text. It is such a condensed teaching. There's only one sentence addressed. Khenpo Sodargye used only one sentence to address the difficulty to obtain a favorable human body, and then one sentence on the human life is impermanent, and one sentence on Maha'ati on the view of Trekcho, and then 3 sentences on 6 Bardos. I truly think it's such a wonderful teaching. Especially this manual possesses 3 kinds of superiority, which are that it possesses close lineage transmission, is free from obscuration caused by broken samaya, and is intended for this time. The superiority of this close lineage transmission between Lord Manjushri and you, there's only one person, I myself. So it is supreme in terms of close lineage transmission. And then there are laughs in the audience again. Maybe they feel that, wow, there's only one person within this oral transmission. It can't be that simple. Maybe. The superiority of being free from obscurations caused by broken samaya in the process of transmitting a tantric teaching from generation to generation, the blessings of teaching will decrease or even disappear if there are conflicts between a guru and a disciple or among Vajra brothers and sisters. However, since this teaching was the first transmitted, there has never been a samaya broker in this lineage. This is the supreme quality. The superiority of being intended for this time. Various Buddhist teachings are taught in accordance with the different times for different beings. For instance, there are teachings that's intended for beings at the beginning of an aeon, when people are enjoying longevity and don't have gross afflictions, while some are taught during the time when beings suffer from short lifespan illness and strong mental afflictions. And this practice manual is the one for this particular age and particular time. Well, it is just like certain kinds of food that's made during a period of time, but then then later placed into fridge. And then when you take those food out of the fridge, the food is still fresh. That is equivalent to say some of the terma of Pamasambhava are now phrased into fridge, and then later will be rediscovered. So some of the Dharma teachings that is very that would work the best to correspond to different beings and at a different time, and then those kinds of terma will be discovered. So this particular teaching, this practice manual, like the proper medicine prescribed for a specific illness, is an unmistakable teaching, especially intended for our time. Well, nowadays people just wanted to eat a lot, sleep a lot, and don't want to practice a lot, don't want to recite a lot, don't like to read a lot. And the Peaceful Manjushri is really wonderful for such lazy and such heavily afflicted beings. So this particular teaching is like the medicine at the right time.